Now that we have removed the background, we want to do something new with it. So in this lecture, I'm going to show you how you can add another background. And the first way you can do this, I've already touched on. The very simple way to do this would be to simply change the background color of your video. So I'm going to click and I'm going to go into the background color and I can change this to white. And the nice thing is you get an immediate preview. I'm just going to pull this over here a little bit so you can see. I can also change it to the yellow we just had. That doesn't look bad. Or I could change it to a purple color. Now, whatever color you're choosing, make sure it's something that works for you. If I were to do this in a realistic setting, I would probably go into more background colors and change this to a deeper purple for myself. Probably somewhere around here. That might work. Almost a little bit too dark. I'm just going to bring this back to a little lighter color. Somewhere around here is probably a good color. That is a color that goes with my shirt. I know it goes with my skin color, and it's something that will work quite well. Now, I'm typically not using that. I'm going to show you other ways how you can bring backgrounds in. However, this being said, I was working with a client recently, and he was wearing a very clean looking dress shirt, and he has a little bit salt and pepper hair, so it looked quite well. And what we ended up doing is we just put him in front of a pure black background and it looked actually really sharp. So sometimes a fancier background is a good idea, and sometimes something plain and simple like this works just as well. So experiment a little bit. I'm just going to change this back to a black background right now. And I'm going to show you how you can actually bring in some other backgrounds. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add an additional track on our video tracks here. And the first track, track 1, which we have renamed as video track, is the only one that allows you to add a track below. And it's really important that you add the track below, because when you cut out the video, whatever is behind it in the layer beneath it is what's going to show up. If you put it on a layer that's on top of it, it'll cover everything up that we have. So I'm just going to go into the clip in, and first I'm going to show you a video background. And it's quite simple. We're just going to go to our videos and we're going to just take this video and drag it onto our track. And I'm just going to let it click and snap here where our introduction ends and our video begins. And just like that, I have a video background. And I just want to warn you ahead of time before I show you a little part of the track here right now. It will show in the preview, not in real time. It will look a little bit choppy because what needs to happen now that we remove the background, there is a lot more processing that needs to happen in real time.
Why am I clapping? More about that in a moment. I want to welcome you to our sample video. We'll be using this video as an example as I show you the different tools.
That's not bad. It works actually quite well. Now, the problem with it is we have a fairly short clip here. And when you have a short clip, and this will happen with a video, you can't arbitrarily change the length of that video. You can go in and you can change the clip speed, and I could change that to a different length. So I could change it to 200% of the original clip speed, and you see what will happen. It has shortened. Or we can actually go the other way and we can go to 20% of the original clip speed, and you can see I have a much longer clip now. However, with a background clip like that, they're typically not very long, and you can't loop a video clip in Camtasia yet. Hopefully that's something that's coming in a future version. Right now it's not something that you can do, so what you would have to do is you would have to go and copy and then go somewhere here and paste that. Obviously in this case we need to drag this down here. But what will happen is in the transition, you will see a little transition because it's not meant to loop those videos, those background videos. I got this particular one from a site called videoblocks.com, which I'm subscribed to. They don't loop. So in the moment where it ends, you'll see a little bit of a transition happening. Let me just see if I can show you this.
So let's get started with the actual video tip now. And I'll show you later how to add.
If you watched really closely, there was a little imperfection in the video. Now, most people may not notice that, but I do. So I don't like to use non-blooping video clips in my backgrounds. Plus, I find them a little bit distracting if I'm already putting other things on top, like the cat we have here and the flags. So I'm going to just remove the video clips, but it is an option for you. Sometimes it's also a good option when you have something very particular you want to show in the background. You could also, if you wanted to, record your own background videos. If you're recording the sky, the clouds moving, just make sure you're recording it long enough for your video clip to last throughout the whole video. So I'm just going to bring this back here, and I'm going to show you an image. Same thing, I'm just going to click on it and I'm going to drag it here. And as you can see, it's quite short right now. And it's also not the right proportion. So let's fix this first of all. And I'm just going to drag it out. It's an abstract backdrop, so I can scale it out of proportion without anything bad happening. And as you can see, we have a nice little background here.
I'll be using this video as an example as I show you the different tools and techniques in Camtasia.
But as you can see, it doesn't last very long. So this being a photo though, it's quite easy to scale. And I'm just gonna use my zoom tool here. And I'm gonna take this clip and I'm gonna move it right to where my track actually starts. I'm not gonna put it behind the background introduction. It wouldn't hurt anything, but I typically line them up to where my actual track starts. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to move it all the way to the right here. We have still some stuff to cut off here in the end that we can do later. And I can just let it end exactly where my audio clip is ending. And now you can see no matter where I go on my track, that was a bad spot. No matter where I am on my track, you can see that background behind me. And it works reasonably well with the images I have overlaid. Some of them not so great. Not a bad background for me to use though, and I quite like the colors. Personally, the greens and pinks are something that works for me. I'm just, for another example, something more neutral, I'm going to bring one more background in. I'm just going to click on this one and delete it. And I have a brushed metal background here that I'm just going to bring in. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to let it snap to the beginning of my video clip, and I'm going to drag it to the end of my audio clip. And you can see Camtasia does this really well. It's really easy to line things up. And here we go. Here is a track in the background. It's very neutral, and no matter where I go, it works quite well. I'm just going to zoom in here a little bit more. We can have the German flag here. And this is what you want to do when you choose a background. You want to make sure that it goes with everything. And we have it here working with the cat. And we have it working here with the PowerPoint logo. That actually looks quite clean. Now I'm just going to go in, and this is something you might notice depending on the background you have, your skin color changes a little bit. And I had already noticed that I look a little bit pale. So I'm just going to go in, and this happens sometimes. You make a little other adjustment. When we go back onto this clip, we have here the removal of the green screen, and I had shown you this little tab here. It's the hue, which makes everything a little bit more pink. Use this like a sprinkle of salt. I'm just going to bring this to about 6 or 7. It's just going to add some warmth. And if that's not enough, there's another little tool here that I want to show you. It's the colorize, and you can see it makes me quite orange. Same thing, you use this like a sprinkle of salt. 10 would probably be a good number, and you can just see how this warms up the image. It works really well, especially because now I have underlaid a background that is gray, and my skin tone was a little matte to start with. So bringing that up sometimes gets your contrast up. It wasn't as noticeable when I had a colorful background. But this is something you can always just tweak a little bit. This is really going into the mastery level. It's not something you have to do. It's just that little extra that's making your skin tone, that's going to make your video so much better. I'm just going to show you, if I take the colorize off, while I turn the colorize back on, you can see I have a much warmer skin tone now, and it looks much more natural. Obviously, when I shot this video, I had a little bit of bright sunlight coming in, which happens, and this just warmed it up a little bit because it was a little harsh in the color. So now we have our video finalized with a nice background. We have the green screen removed, and we have a nice and clean looking video. I'm just going to check through a couple more times. The cat looks good. I look good. I'm quite happy with it. We have exchanged the sound. So I'm just going to process this as well for you, so you have a sample video of that finished version.